Welcome to How To Tuesdays, Knack Training's weekly video tutorials. This is how to pick fonts. When you're building a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation, you're given plenty of opportunities to mix and match fonts. So here's a little guidance to make sure that you make good decisions. There are four basic types of fonts: serif, sans serif, script, and decorative fonts. For the purposes of business communication, script and decorative fonts are generally not used because script fonts look like handwriting and decorative fonts have a lot of interesting designs and flourishes that usually make sure that you save them for artistic projects. That leaves serif and sans serif fonts. Serif fonts are standard font types that have serifs, or these structural details, at the ends of some of the strokes. For example, the base of the T is a serif. By contrast, a sans serif font means that it is without serifs, and those fonts are plainer, without the curls and the feet that serif fonts have. Deciding between serifs and sans serifs has been a hot debate through the years, with no real research that definitively says that one font is better than another. The convention that most people have arrived at, though, is that we should be using sans serif fonts when we're primarily reading the text on a screen, and using serif fonts when we're primarily using that text to read in print materials. So what should we do when we have the ability to use two different fonts? A lot of people, unfortunately, pick two fonts that they like without looking at them together on the same page. And what happens then is that you end up with two fonts often that look too much alike. If you pick two fonts that are very, very similar but have subtle differences, then your readers will end up having a lot of confusion, and generally this gives people headaches. So the convention is to pick two types, one serif and one sans serif, and use one of them as the heading text and the other as the body text. Some common serif fonts are Times New Roman, Georgia, Palatino, Garamond, and Century. And for those of you who just got the newer versions of Microsoft Office, you've probably seen a new serif font called Cambria. In the same way, the most popular sans serif fonts out there include Arial, Verdana, Lucida, and Tahoma. And again, for those of you who've got the newer versions of Microsoft Office, you'll be seeing a lot of the font called Calibri. If you want to pick up some new free fonts, there are a bunch of websites out there for you to choose from. Some very useful ones include dafont.com, 1001freefonts.com, and fontsquirrel.com. Some of my favorite fonts that I've downloaded from these sites include fonts like Elephant, Euphemia, Handvetica, and Sensation. Here's the bottom line. There are thousands of free fonts to make your design stand out. But in order to make good choices, you need to find two good ones, one serif and one sans serif, that complement one another very nicely, and use one as the body text and one as the heading text. It'll look very professional.